This is K-Rockcast, the podcast where music and perspectives collide.
I'm Anne, a music lover who's the ultimate fan.
And I'm Kelly, a professional musician. Join us as we dive into the world of the Rose and other Korean and Asian rock bands.
Sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we'll wildly disagree, but what's guaranteed is a passionate, hilarious, and unfiltered conversation about the music that unites us and the bands that inspire us.
On today's show,
CN Blue forever.
Hi, everybody. We're back. Kelly, today we are not talking about the Rose.
yay!
No. Look at the color I'm wearing today, Kelly.
I know.
Who are we talking about, Kelly?
I don't know. Would it be a certain band called CN Blue?
CN Blue forever.
It's so bad.
And listeners and viewers, today we may, for the first time in K-Rockcast history, see Kelly swoon.
No, you won't.
If there's anyone out there who can make Kelly from K-Rockcast swoon, it's Kang Min-hyuk.
Shut up. Shut up, woman. Shut up. Stop it.
She's getting
I'm
embarrassed.
going to hide behind my mug.
Yeah, she has rosy cheeks already, and we haven't even dug in.
Yeah, thanks for that.
This
Yeah.
is fun.
Thanks.
All right. Well, if you haven't figured out, listeners, today's episode is Into the Blue. We are taking a little bit of a break. Don't worry. We're not forgetting about our guys, but we are going to dive into the music of CN Blue. And so we're excited. Where are all the voices out there? What an odd name, I will say. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue, voices, but hey.
Yeah.
It means the voice of CN Blue, which that's kind of cool as fans. You're the voice of the band. We hope you enjoy this episode. And if you just kind of know their music, hopefully after today, you're going to get to know their music better. I definitely am still learning a lot about them, learning a lot about their music. I love it, love it, love it so far. And we have 2 tracks. And so actually we went out to our Patreon followers, Kelly.
Yeah.
And we asked them if there was another group for us to start covering first, who do you want it to be? And this group came out in the top of the poll, didn't they?
They did. With another
Yeah.
artist that we'll look at in a bit.
Yeah. So look forward to that. And then we asked them for song recommendations. And so today we're just going to cover 2 tracks. I mean, this is a band, Kelly, that has a very deep discography.
It's
They've been
huge.
around.
They've
since
been around a
2009.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been around a long
while.
time. So we are really only scratching the surface. And if you guys love this episode and want to learn more, we definitely can do future episodes and continue to talk about their music. So Kelly, why don't you kick us off with a little bit of a background and introduction to the band?
Of course. So CN Blue is a South Korean pop rock band, and they were formed in 2009 under FNC Entertainment. The name CN Blue, it stands for Code Name Blue, and where blue is an acronym representing the members' personas. Yeah, just let's try. Yeah, I can't get my head around this one. So it's burning, lovely, untouchable, and emotional.
I don't know which is who is who in these acronyms or these. Yeah. But it kind of shows you, like, even from the start, right? They came out as a rock band, but they're leaning into those tropes in K-pop, right?
Of course.
Like,
I mean, it was
Yeah.
to me, it's kind of a sort of a safe entry level as such, and I think that's kind of what they did with it. So before their Korean debut, they actually polished their craft in Japan as an indie band, which is amazing. So they literally did like the Beatles did, and they went to Germany and polished their craft before they came out as the behemoths that they were. And it just basically allowed them to progress and develop this wonderful ability that they have to play live. I mean, these guys are amazing live. They are full on masters of their craft. Obviously, while they were there, they learnt Japanese, which explains why they have such a huge Japanese discography as well.
Yeah.
And the great thing is they played in small venues. So they learnt their musical chops. They did the proper progression. They worked as a proper
Yeah.
band and worked their way up. They weren't just catapulted into the light like a lot of K-pop acts are.
Yeah, and there's this, I first learned of them actually through Suga from BTS had a great show called Seshwata before his entry into the military, and he would bring on actors and other Korean musicians and have great conversations about music and life.
Yeah.
And I realized looking back that Younghwa was a guest. I had no idea who he was. And that was kind of my first like entry point.
Yeah.
And then seeing Younghwa again on the Bibbin Pop, with Sammy, then it was like piqued I was like, okay, now I've seen this guy twice, kind of hearing some of the stories he told on each of those shows about they've put in a lot of work early as a band and like paid their dues. And he told this story on Bibbin Pop where early on in their career in Japan, they actually opened for Linkin Park, which is kind of an odd, right?
It's the weirdest combination ever.
Weird combination. And so when they went out to this Linkin Park audience, they got booed.
They would. I hate to say it. I can understand probably why they did.
And he said they just were like, okay, we're going to win you over. And he said they played their hearts out and won that crowd over. And I think it goes to what you said. This is a band that is incredible live. And I think they've really honed that live, performance skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just such good musicians. And that is the key. They are all exceptional musicians. And if they weren't in the band that they are in, and obviously didn't have acting careers and all this, that, and the other, actually, they would all be truly exceptional session musicians. They are that level of brilliance. So their Korean debut arrived on January the 14th, 2010, and the mini album Blue Tory and the lead single I'm a Loner. Now, I'm a Loner is one of the most well-known songs. It is their fan favorite. It will always come out. As CN Blue progressed, they struck a balance between accessible pop rock melodies and then just a genuine band. I mean, they go out and they jam when they play. And I mean, that's something that's sorely missing from so much live music. I mean, once upon a time, people would just go out and jam and they'd just allow the moment to take them. Whereas now, obviously, people play to backing tracks and everything else, and everything's about perfect timing, and you can't just let loose. These guys do, and to me, that is the mark of truly amazing musicians. There's no way around it. All three of them are great. So we've got a traditional rock band setup with this. So you've got guitars, drums, and bass. There's obviously other instrumentation in there when it's actually recorded, but for live, that is generally what you get. The first full studio album in Korea was First Step, and that came out in March 2011, and it featured the title track, Intuition. And that included both Korean versions and Japanese songs as well. So the time in Japan really did allow for them to have this huge fan base over there. And obviously the ability to sing Japanese just opened up that market for them as well. In 2014, they then released the EP Can't Stop, which we might be talking about in a little bit. Critics recognised it as one of their best K-pop albums of the year. So it had Billboard K-Town calling the title track amongst the most accessible Korean rock tunes of 2014. At that time, we were so heavily in K-pop territory. For that to be said, I mean, that really is smack-a-laid. They also built such a strong Japanese discography and touring presence, so showing that the ambition it's definitely international as well as domestic, and it would be nice to see them spread a little bit further. But we'll get onto that in a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they still tour very heavily in Japan. I did have the wonderful pleasure on their rare outside of Asia touring when they came over to the North America and did a set of shows this year. I saw them in New York. And as you said, the level of just musicianship
Yeah.
because of how they jam together. I
That
think
was
I was
amazing.
very impressed by that.
So good.
It's one of those shows that I went to it. It was 2.5 hours. They have a very deep discography.
Yeah.
They don't take many breaks.
No.
They really don't. And I knew 3 songs, and I'm there, and I was jamming out to every song.
I love that. I love that.
I mean,
Amazing.
that's the level, right? That level of musicianship when you can hear it live, and it doesn't matter if you know their music or not. You're just
Exactly.
enjoying live music played, at the highest level.
Yeah.
And Younghwa is so charismatic on stage. He has some of
Yeah.
the best stage presence I've ever seen. And actually, I have a great clip since we're talking
Oh,
about that.
okay.
All right, I think that was just a slight taste of the kind of guitar playing that Younghwa can do.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It really was. I was so
he is good.
impressed.
And the guitar sound is just so rich and lovely. I mean, that's got a lot to do with that Fender, to be perfectly honest. But
Beautiful guitar.
oh, yeah, I'm a Gibson girl, I must admit. It's just got such warmth and depth to it, and everything else. And just to hear him play like that is so nice. And it's perfect. There's no smudged notes or anything. I mean, that man
No.
is drilled to perfection when it comes to playing live, and it's so nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're a band of 3 right now, but they didn't start off as 3, Kelly.
Yeah.
So at one time, there were actually 4 of them. So when they started, the original bassist was Kwon Kang-jin. He left early on, and he was replaced by Lee Jung-shin. And then guitarist and vocalist Lee Jong-hyun departed the band in August of 2019. And at this point, it just became the 3 members that we have today. So we have Jung Young-hwa, Kang Min-hyuk, and Lee Jong-shin. And so Lee Jong-shin is bassist, Kang Min-hyuk is the drums, and then Jung Young-hwa is kind of like everything. The
Everything
man can
else,
play
yeah.
piano,
He is.
he can play guitar. He is their main vocalist. So Lee Jong-shin does some vocal work,
Yeah.
but he and Min Hyuk do more backup
Backing
vocals
vocals,
than
yeah.
any kind of lead vocals. So that was another thing I think when I saw them, I felt very impressed by is the level of vocal work that Younghwa does, and he belts it. And he had to sustain that for 2.5 hours. So there was nobody else singing that gave him a break.
No, he has such a fantastically well-trained voice. And this is something we've discussed before. I mean, when you are trained to sing, it's so much easier. And also, that man looks after his instrument. There's no messing around. He knows what his bread and butter is.
I agree with you. I definitely feel like you can tell he's very well trained
Oh, yeah.
as a vocalist, and because, or else he wouldn't be able to sustain
No,
that level of
no,
vocal
not for that length
work
of time. Not
for
with
that
sort of,
length of time.
yeah, exactly. And I mean,
Yeah,
he really doesn't take breaks during the entire thing. I mean,
right.
you don't get these long lingering ments that you get in some other shows. I mean, it really is, for want
Right.
of a better term, balls to the wall, isn't it? Straight out the gate.
It
They
is.
are, yeah,
Yeah.
they're amazing. Yeah, so good vibe.
Yeah, very true. So despite these shifts, they really maintained momentum. They kept producing new material. In January of 2024, they announced their first Asian tour in 7 years.
That's mad,
And so
isn't
this
it?
was kind of a renewed activity after periods of their mandatory military service. And Younghwa has done quite a bit of solo work in terms of
Yeah.
albums. But then you mentioned it just briefly, all of them are also very avid actors
Exactly,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah, yeah. And so they have done a variety of just solo activities kind of all throughout this time. In October of 2024, they released their 10th mini album, X, and described by the band as embracing the number 10, representing infinite possibilities. The album consisted of 6 tracks, all written or co-composed by the
Yeah.
members. So it kind of seems interesting. Obviously we went in depth, that we'll talk about in a moment, on these 2 tracks that are heavily written by Younghwa, but it kind of feels like maybe over time more of the members have taken over
Yeah.
writing and composing,
Yeah.
their own music, which is just always great to see an
That's
artist, be
that,
able
yeah, I mean,
to do that.
that's what you want for band dynamics, though. You
Yeah.
need, because otherwise it literally just becomes a focal point and that focal story for that one person that's actually writing. So it is better to be a collaboration of, and if it's not a collaboration of, it's various people throwing their ideas into the pot, and then that becomes the group sound. So,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I think you can tell it when they get onto the later albums, but that's not a
Yeah.
negative thing. I mean, that's like a really good thing.
I agree, because I think, Kelly, what they've kind of said in reflecting on their 15-year career, which, I mean, a 15-year career in music
It's
is
amazing.
just
It's
incredible. It's
good. Yeah.
amazing. And in terms of the Korean music market, right? It has
Yeah.
continually been very heavy and focused on the K-pop market.
Yeah.
And as a Korean rock band, they've really stayed true to being a rock
Yeah,
band and
exactly.
focusing on that live playing. And I think they've been excited to see this continued kind of resurgence in
Yeah.
the market. This is part of the reason why we were excited to start this podcast,
Yeah.
because we know that
Oh, yeah.
rock music in Korea is starting to kind of gain, a little bit of attraction.
Yeah,
And I think that's, yeah.
it's gaining more momentum again, and the underground is definitely swelling. But you can see it throughout Asia. It's not just Korea. I mean,
Mhm,
Japan's always had this very sort of, when it comes to music, we're individuals, so they're not frightened of throwing things out and just going,
mhm.
this is mad. And there's always evolves, there's always this underground current happening in Japan. And I think obviously their time in Japan allowed them to understand that and to know that there's this, this role that you can do as a band and as musicians. But yeah, you can see it in like Malaysia and various other places as well. I mean, it is definitely creeping back up to the surface. I think people have got to the point where there's only so much polish and overgleam and that people can listen to, and every now and again you need a real voice, and I think that's what's slowly starting to happen.
It's kind of interesting because you even see, you know, there's this major show in South Korea on Mnet, and
Yeah.
I, what they're doing is have this competition show then it's focused on rock bands
Yeah.
and rock music, right? And so, kind of seeing this come more into the mainstream in South Korean music culture. It's just so exciting, and so exciting for groups like CN Blue or FT
Yeah.
Island or even the Rose, that have been
Yeah.
paying their dues and putting
Yeah.
in work for years. It's only going to help,
Yeah.
their
It
careers
is.
continue to move forward.
Definitely. So CM Blue holds this really sort of kind of bizarre key place of being like an idol band. So they've got this
Mm,
idol culture that they've managed to harness, but they're still a full-on rock band, and they've managed to like stick it together as a fusion, but still be able to dominate in a market that is just all
mhm.
dance and pop groups. And they've just got this, I don't know how they've managed to do it, but they've found their niche and they stuck to it.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's so nice to see. And I mean, there are bands out there that know their niche, they know their lane, and they get in it and they drive in it. As I was saying, so I'm a Loner, which was released in 2010. I mean, that just demonstrated it perfectly because it is a K-pop crossover song, and it's
Yeah,
very,
definitely.
yeah, it's very obviously got heavy leanings of just pop and commercial in it. And then it's just, it's just the fuzz is turned up a little bit, and it's just hits a little bit harder, and that acted as a gateway for the listeners to go, oh, actually, do you know what, we can move into this. And I think that is something that is, they do so well. They still have these heavy
Mm.
leanings of commercialism that people pick up on, and but they do it in such a just a well way. I can't express actually how brilliantly they do this. One of the strange things is that their evolution, and this comes through like how they have matured musically, how the lineup changes have happened, and I mean the balancing acting and singing and touring, and it makes you wonder how they've managed to sustain it, to be able to live
Yeah.
up to the same levels of like K-pop that is literally continually rolling. So I mean the thing with K-pop is there's a new group every
Mhm.
day, there's a new fad every day, um and whatever that is, they've managed to roll with those punches. And I think a lot of the time it's literally because they've just stuck in the lane and they know what they're good at. And so the 2024 comeback and a lot of the comments that they made around that time were very definitely along about, now is a time for band music.
Mm.
And that, as we've discussed, I mean, it is there, it is going to happen. And you can see Korean music definitely stepping up to that point now. There is more of an acceptance of bands and live
Yeah.
performances. I mean, we've recently had 2 or 3 festivals this summer in South Korea, and they were predominantly rock bands that were playing.
Mhm.
And that is something that's really fantastic to see. And I'd like to see
Yeah,
more. I'd
it
like to
is.
see more of it. It would also be nice if we could get them to tour the damn things, but that's a different plot and plan.
Well, let's jump into our first track, which is Can't Stop. I'm excited to talk about this one, Kelly, because this one was sung on the Bib and Pop
Yeah.
show. Younghwa and Sammy sang this one together, which was a great rendition of it.
Yeah.
It was released originally on February 24th, 2014. It is off the album called Can't Stop. The lyrics are by Jung Young-hwa and Heaven Light. So I don't know anything about this individual,
No,
Heaven Light.
no, I don't
Um,
either.
yeah,
That's one to
composition
look
Jung
into.
Young-hwa and Heaven Light, arrangement by Heaven Light. Jung Young-hwa was the vocals, piano, and guitar. Lee Jong-hyun was guitar, Lee Jong-shin bass, Kang Min-hyuk drums, and producer was Jung Young-hwa. So we can definitely see. I feel
Yeah.
like it's like the name we're gonna say a lot in the credits is definitely Young-hwa. So
Yeah,
he is
there's a slight leaning to our Dojuni with this, isn't there?
exactly right, right. And it
Yeah,
just goes
definitely.
into I can't sing his praises enough. That man is so talented.
Yeah, he is.
So
That is true.
talented.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I respect him so much. So why don't you jump in to kind of let's start with the melody analysis.
So it's C sharp and it's 130 beats per minute. This is, for want of a better term, a very, 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 very traditional ballad. There's no other way of describing it.
Mm.
However, it has some very clever moments in there that are very simple. They're not revolutionary ideas, but they work so well in the actual structure of the song. So it starts out with this very, very soft piano, and
Mm.
it's quite high, which obviously,
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because I
yeah,
found that very interesting.
yes.
Is that different? I mean, you know, obviously far more
I mean,
music than I do. It felt
tradition,
different to me to start that
tra-
high pitch.
yeah. I mean, traditionally, when you do a ballad, a lot of it sort of starts in the chest because that's the bit that registers with you the most. But to go that step higher and it sort of be at the top of the piano and it just be this very shrill sort of ding, ding,
Right.
and he's matching it. And it's like, okay,
Yes.
but it's so beautifully done. And I think the purpose behind that is
Mm.
literally to show the vulnerability. It's almost, it's like
Mm.
that shattering of glass sound, which is, that's a really lovely touch. And obviously the fact that the guy can reach those notes very easily says a lot.
Wow. Yeah. It kind of grabs you, Kelly, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Because you're not like it is very high pitched, but you're right about it's done it in such a lovely way. Like it's not
yeah.
jarring or
No, it's
something
not.
like that.
No, it could,
Yeah. It
and
made
it
it
could,
unique to me.
yeah, it could easily be jarring though. I mean, it could be. I mean, we're
Mhm.
literally two steps away from
Yeah.
sort of, slasher horror movie territory. I mean,
Right.
if it was sped up a bit, it'd be like, it's like, ah,
Right.
let's not do this. I'm not getting in the shower while this is playing. I mean, it's that. I mean, you have to be careful with it. But no, I mean, it's like breaking a glass heart is how I kind of think of it, really.
Mm.
And it's just this
Yeah.
very sort of, very quietly emoted piece of piano
Yeah.
that's so simple, but it's so beautiful. And then it's just
Mm.
sort of got this very soft drum shuffle underneath it. And I mean, a drum
Mm.
shuffle is very traditional with slow dance and things like that. I mean, even
Mm.
though it's 130 beats per minute, but it's a very traditional 4/4 drum shuffle in there. It builds with strings underneath it, and these strings
Mm.
come in, and actually they're initially slightly lower than where the piano was, which is quite nice because it
Mm.
adds a filling underneath it. And then you get these guitar stabs, and it builds. Literally every line builds, and it builds,
It
and it
does.
builds to the chorus, and then you just get this huge boot of the drums kicking in. And that's so nice because it
Mm.
kicks into double time and then the song breaks free. So you've gone from
It
this
does.
very sort of
Mm.
it's almost like I don't want to say it's a waltz type thing, but it has got that
Mm.
slight sort of ebb and flow of a waltz. And then
Mm.
it breaks free, and then you get this double time, and it kicks in, and you're just like, okay, right, okay, yeah, I can see where we're going now, and it gives
You're
you that
right. Like
goal.
you wanna just get up and dance
You
when
do,
that
yeah, you
it
do, which
really
is
drives you yeah, to the chorus. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, you can't help but
and
move your body.
no, but it's so weird because of how the song starts out, and then
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I'm just going to start dancing around it. Like, hold on a minute, but the beautiful,
like,
what the hell's
yeah.
happened? What the hell is, you know, what the hell's gone off here? And then we go from this, and then it drops away again. So you've
Yes.
got this beautiful push pull, and it's so nice. It's just such a lovely way to keep you on your toes, which again feels a little bit like the story of the song, the actual lyrics. It has got this sort
Right.
of like, it's like this dosey-doing. I know that sounds a really weird way of putting it, but it's like this
Yeah.
push and pull, and this like, is it magnetic, and is it letting go, and do I run away or do I stay? And it has got that sort of stop start of like, I kind of think about it, it's almost like a relationship that doesn't quite get off the ground, and you can hear that in the music. So obviously when we've come out the chorus, it then just falls back to this traditional shuffle again, and the strings are there and it flows, and but again we get this slow build up to the bridge. One of the things that I love in this is there's such a use of silence and pauses.
Yeah.
You don't traditionally get cut in silence and pauses in ballads. It tends to be more dance music where you will slice, you will physically put a slice of silence in, because that allows the drop. That's how you get that traditional sort of kick in the pit of your stomach when the drop kicks in, and then you get the high level of euphoria because of it. And this is almost working in the same way. It's such clever pop writing. There's no other way of describing it. And because of these little bits of silence and the gradual builds and swells, and then like the tempo increases, it just works so beautifully. And then obviously we get like a music octave jump and everything, because we get down into following the breakdown, there's tempo changes, but that's needed. And this is needed because if these items weren't actually in this song, it would bog down so quickly. It could become a very, very cliched, boring song, because it is a very traditional ballad. But these tempo changes and everything else are just lovely. And yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I quite like this song, to be honest. And it's clever.
Yeah.
It's clever without being over the top.
I think you're right. And reflecting on kind of our analysis on the melody, and then we'll talk about the lyrics here in a minute. I think we both kind of agree the lyrics are kind of shallow, like there's not a whole lot of depth to them. So for me, this song is about this melody. It's about exactly what you articulated so well. I put in my notes, I feel like as a listener, I'm on this roller coaster. I'm going up and down and this way and that way. And it grabs you, it keeps you. And so in this case, I think like, I feel like so much, for me as a listener, I tend to lean into lyrics. I tend to kind of always gravitate to lyrics, and I love rich depth to lyrics. But this one I was like, okay, I'm not going to focus on like the meaning behind what he's saying. I'm just going to focus on the melody and the amazing journey I'm being taken on through this song. I love any kind of staccato, and this has this lovely like staccato part when he's saying it's kind of like that good day, da-do-da, that kind of staccato part. Sorry, I can't sing, listeners and viewers.
It was okay. I'm fine.
I can hear it in my head. I can hear him singing it in my head. But I just love that part because I'm like, da, da, da. Like it goes back to kind of that body movement I tend to do when I'm listening. But yeah, this is a great song. I think his vocals are stellar.
Oh God, yeah.
Great vocal work.
He's all over the place when it comes to this. He really is. He's going from chest register up into falsetto and back down. But the thing is, and I will say this now, his ability to jump from chest to head. Oh my God. it's so clear, because sometimes you get like a gulp with singers. There's like a couple of notes where you like go before you get into the. There's none of that. It's so smooth. It just flows.
What you were saying, the level of vocal training
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
had,
yeah,
and it's
definitely.
that's where it shows. So let's talk a little bit about lyrics. I mean, it's a little light, maybe a
Yeah,
little light on
a little
depth
like,
and lyrics here. I kind of felt like it expressed like a one-sided love
yeah,
that's kind of still lingering, like
yeah,
after you separate, you're kind of trapped between like you want to move on, but then you're unable to kind of stop loving this
yeah.
person that's like gone away. What's your kind of thought on the lyrics?
I think they're quite lovely lyrics. I will put that there. They are lovely lyrics, but it is quite a. It's a very commercial way of
Mm,
explaining something. So this ties
that's kind
back.
of a good way to describe it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this ties back to like the K-pop sensibilities. So
Yeah.
you will never get a K-pop band giving you Keats. I mean, you're never going to get this like overblown sort of take on lyrical nuances. This is, but it's still beautiful stuff. There are some really beautiful lines in there. There are some really nice ideas that just fit within what you sort of expect it to. It doesn't, how do I say this? It doesn't rewrite the playbook at all
Mm,
in
yeah.
any way. But actually, sometimes that helps, because what happens is it's what people expect. And that's actually how pop music works. Because
Mm,
what happens is your brain goes, I think I know what the next set of lyrics is going to be. A lot of the time, why you can sort of sing along
yeah.
with things without even knowing it. Um, but there's some really
Yeah, I think
nice,
that's a good point.
yeah, there's some really nice sort of like concepts in there. There's some clever uses of like oh, I can't think
I
of the
like that
word.
line he says, where's the mirror one? "I live every day like a mirror. My
Yeah,
day is yours," right? I felt like that was a little bit more poetic,
a little bit more
than some of
personal
the
as
other
well.
lines.
Yeah, exactly. It feels,
Yeah.
it's got that slightly more personable feel to it, and that is that.
First of all, I think that's what it is. I feel like so many, even these recent artist spotlight interviews, right, that we've
Yeah,
had on the show, so many of these artists that we've been digging into lately, their lyrics are very personal
yeah,
and and have a lot of like they can balance that writing a personal, like we talked about this with
with
Anson,
Anson.
I
Yeah,
think too, like writing that personal song but then having universal relatability,
yes,
right?
yeah,
I feel like this is more just like that universal, it's like that commercial thing you talked about, like it's just kind of this like generic, you know poem that it just
yeah.
like beautiful words, but they're just kind of, I don't know. They're just, I don't, maybe I'm not articulating myself well.
They
There's
sometimes
not really that personal
yeah,
experience behind it.
they sometimes feel a little empty.
Empty. That's a good,
So
yes,
like you
yes.
get the idea that this guy is explaining a lack of reciprocal nature of love, but
Hmm.
it's sort of, you don't really pick up on it because it's delivered in such a soft, polished way, and actually,
Right.
it's the thing is, even though when you write a ballad, if you're writing a heartbreak ballad, there is still this slight level of anger sometimes in it, and he uses very beautiful
Mm.
words. So it's almost like it's really silly to say, but it's almost like he's writing an apology for feeling bad.
Mm.
That's how it feels to
Yeah.
me. I mean, it's kind of this that a complete loss of self and only wanting to exist for this one person, this one individual. And it's almost being apologetic for feeling that way when this person's gone. Don't want you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I always
Whereas,
think is so
yeah,
interesting in ballads to have like kind of these depressing, lyrics or you're talking about this love that doesn't want you anymore, but you still want them. You can't get over them. And here you're like, can't stop me now.
I
Like
know.
I'm like, it's just like, wait, I'm over here just dancing away. And I was just like, wait, like until I, translated the Korean, I'm like, dude, this guy's not happy.
This is
We're
depressing.
happy over here.
And you're dancing away like this. Yeah,
Like,
no.
hey,
Yeah, it's like, no. When did Jazz Hands come out?
hey, oh, Kelly, Anne loves her some jazz hands.
I know you love Jazz Hands. I'm well aware. I do worry about you every now and again. I love you, but I do worry about you.
Yes, you should, as you should. All right. Well, that was Can't Stop. That is a fun song. I've got a great clip, listeners, from the New York show of Younghwa performing that. Let's take a minute and watch that.
There's such a good camaraderie with them on stage, though, isn't there? You can tell that
There
they're three.
is, Kelly.
You can tell that they're three brothers and they love each other. They've got each other's backs.
I love that
Definitely.
you pointed that out because I agree, and you can tell they love performing together.
Oh God, yeah. You can see the joy on the face. It literally oozes from them, which I think then goes back to you saying like how Yeonhwa has this amazing stage presence. And a lot of stage presence and charisma, I hate to say it, just comes from the fact that people can tell you're bloody enjoying being on stage.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of it is literally just that you are there, you are present, and people want to they want to see that sun. They want to bask in that sun, and people enjoy it. And yeah, it's so lovely to see. And you can't help but be infused by that and just desperately want to sort of like be involved with it.
Oh yeah, it's so true. It's so true. All right, let's talk about our second song. This song is so fun and quirky, Kelly. It's very different from Can't Stop. I love this one.
This has been on my playlist since it was released.
Oh wow. I had never heard it before. I don't think I'd listened to this one. Because I went back and they didn't play Love Cut. That's our second one that you're gonna talk to us about. They didn't play it in this tour. So yeah, I hadn't listened to it before us doing this deep dive. So why don't you kick us off with all the information about it?
Right, so this is Love Cut, and as I've just announced to the world, this has been on my playlist for a very long time. This is as quirky as hell song, but we'll get into that in a little bit. This was released on the Wanted mini album, and the actual Love Cut single came out when the guys actually came out of military service. This was their first foray back into the world. So the lyrics are by Younghwa, and it was composed by Younghwa, Do-hoon, and Hyung Seong. It was arranged by Kim Do-hyung and Lee Hyung-sung, and it was produced this time by Kim Do-hong and engineered by Jung-hoon at FNC Entertainment Studios. The mixing engineer was Kyu Jong-hil at Klang Studios. Mastering was Kwon Nam-woo at 821 Sound Mastering. I'm sure we've heard of that place before.
I recognize that, Kelly, from the Rose discography. That was so fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's been
maybe
around a
2-1
bit.
sounds the only one in town. I don't know, but
I
I
think
was
it
just like,
might be the
yeah.
only one in town. This is true. Yeah, it could be. Vocal director Kim Do-han, Young-Hwa, and the director digital editing was Yi Hyung-seung. So guitar recording was Lee Hyung-seung, bass recording was Yi Jun-shin, vocals and guitars was Young-Hwa, bass was Lee Jung-shin, drums Kang Min-hyuk, guitars, which were additional on top of this, was Lee Hyung-seung, and the keyboards and programming was done by TM.
I'm excited to talk about this melody. I feel like I'm in like this like Western movie
Yes.
or something, which
Yes.
was like so bizarre at first. I feel like I'm in the OK Corral and I'm seeing like a gunfight or something.
You do know my love of original soundtracks started out with my dad's obsession with westerns, so this is probably why this is on my playlist, to be honest. So this is in F major. It's 132 beats per minute, and this is definitely not an original idea. I hate to say that. This isn't an original idea at all. But it isn't an overused idea, which is the thing.
So when
to
you say
bear in
original
mind.
idea, you kind of mean that Western
It's a very
tones and
those
sounds?
tones, the melody,
Okay.
the stamp of it. Everything's been kind of done before, but they've just done it in a very good way and got away with it. And you don't necessarily expect a Korean rock band to come out with a Western song, basically.
Right. Yeah.
It's so
Maybe
cinematic.
that's what kind of throws me when I first
Yeah.
heard it. I was just like, okay, this isn't kind of what I was expecting from CN Blue.
No, not at all. And it's got this really beautiful cinematic thing to it as well, which works so well. I mean, you can understand why they did the video the way they did the video for this as well.
Oh, the music video, by the way, if you
amazing.
listeners and viewers, you've got to watch the music video. It's so good.
It really is a really good video.
They play up this whole Western gunslinger, but instead of guns, they have scissors. And it's like the concept of like Love Cut, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit. Yeah,
lyrics,
exactly.
But it's so fun.
It's
so fun. I love it.
So, but as we were saying, I mean, it's not an original idea. It has been done before. This is borrowing very heavily from Latina music, as well as borrowing very heavily from spaghetti western soundtracks. It's a it's a clever song, even though it's, you know, it's not an original idea at all. It's a very nice mid-tempo jaunt, I think is the nice way of describing it. You know, you're not suddenly gonna go, it's not suddenly gonna push you anywhere. It's just got that nice flow and rhythm to it. And to be perfectly honest, it probably could have been pushed more in places. However, the lovely thing about this is it's an absolute earworm. There's no other way of describing it. It has just so many weird little quirky things that just like, we have this genre and we're going to tick every single box in the genre to make sure it is so obviously like a spaghetti western. So you have the piano that's on it is honky-tonk piano. The way it is played, the actual sound that's coming out of it is very much the honky-tonk piano that you would hear in a western saloon. It is that type of thing. And then on top of that, you've got this whistle. This whistle! Start, and all the way through. But the thing is, this isn't a carefree whistle. This isn't what you sort of... We've heard from other artists before, you know, they whistle because it's a carefree thing. This isn't. This is announcing presence. This is the gunslinger walking into the bar. This is their threat. That's almost what it is. So the whistle cuts through, and it's almost of like a threat of action, which, but it's done in such a cheeky way, which is kind of bizarre.
Yeah,
I love
so
that.
True.
It's brilliant. So the tempo and pacing of the lyrics in the chorus causes this really nice push-pull again. They're so good at this push-pull thing. A lot of
Mm.
bands don't do it, but it's very much in keeping again with the idea of the lyrics and where the lyrics come from, which is quite a nice idea. I think it's got this ability to sort of transcend. You get what this music is trying to tell you, even if you don't know what the lyrics are. You know that this is an embattled song. There's no heaviness to it, but you know this is two people coming up for a gunfight at the OK Corral. This is exactly what this is. And then we have this lovely, lovely thing with the guitar and the vocals, and they harmonize when the laws kick in. And it's so nice because everything just kind of fits and flows so beautifully. And I think that's actually one of the nicest bits of the song. And then we get this gorgeous trumpet kick in for the outro, which you don't expect
the horns
either.
in the outro are
amazing.
so good.
So good, yeah. I mean, I love a bit of brass.
And I didn't hear them anywhere else throughout the song. Or did I miss them in other parts of the song?
No, it is literally.
Okay, because it's so odd to me that they're just there at the end.
It's like just
it's another one of those elements to me of that Western style of, spaghetti Western.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying. It's like they've got this genre and they've ticked the box for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, even the guitar. Yeah. So one of the other tracks I love off of this EP is 99%. I love that one. And again, this has that similar like chicken pick guitar in it as well. It's got that similar type of feeling, so you can see that those two songs sit hand in hand. But yeah, I really like this one, and there's some really nice sort of quirky things in it.
Yeah, it is. And I think let's go into then the lyrics. So the English title is Love Cut. The Korean title is actually Saktuk, which actually means nip it in the bud. Yeah. And I kind of love that because that is like, to me, the whole theme of like the song.
It is literally the whole theme of it. I mean, to me, reading the lyrics, it's very much about that feeling of meeting a person and thinking that you are destined to be with them, and then realizing, shit, I'm not. I'm really not meant to be with this person. And he's like, you've got to cut the red cord. You've got to walk away. You've got to cut the cord. And instead of it being like two people facing each other to fire a gun, it's like, no, I'm going to snip the cord and I'm walking away. This is not doing me any good.
It's definitely, it's kind of like that love now is like turned toxic. And like you're saying, you just need to cut it out of your life. I like some of the lyrics where he says a sickening. I like his description. He calls it a sickening love.
Yeah.
That's kind of that toxicity. And then he says the wounds of love as if crazy. And yeah, I just like in this one, in his lyrics, I like some of the imagery he uses like that. I'll cut you off and then throw you away. He says, because, and then he comes back and he says like, it's my fault. Right?
Yeah, he does this every time. It's my fault. I've done wrong. Yeah.
Like he kind of keep going back.
One of my favorite lines in it is, you make a fool of me in the game every time.
Yes, I like that line too.
I think I like
these lyrics a little bit better than Can't Stop, because I feel like these are a little less shallow.
Yeah.
I think there's more relatability here. They feel like they could have come from like real experiences, not just, there's this like standard poetic, generic set of lyrics about love.
Exactly. And this is the thing. This is a development of a writer. This is a development of a lyricist as well. So it's going from that very early sort of Can't Stop, where it's just like, I'm going to write a ballad and it's going to be da-da-da-da, to, oh my God, I've actually felt this. I'm going to write an experience. And I mean, there's so, I mean, like, one of the other lines I really, really like, because I mean, obviously, we're talking about this metaphorical cutting of the cord
Mhm.
to stop this love that was meant to be, that was destined to be, and it's not. And then there's this one line that even if I run, I come back to the same place. And it's like, oh, for God's sake. I mean, it doesn't matter what I do, I can't escape you.
Right. That's another line to me that is very relatable.
Yeah,
Very
definitely.
relatable. Yeah. I want to talk about your take on his use of this la la la. So as we're talking about the other lyrics, the la like singing la 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 could be interpreted as, like you said, when whistling is more carefree, like
Yeah.
la 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 la. But I wanted your thoughts. My thought is that because there's this line he says, um, words said to me like a habit of
Habits of
talking.
talking. I love that line.
I love that line. And then I feel like there's another line where he's talking about, I cried and laughed at every word you said.
Yes.
That's another line. And so to me, I almost think the la 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 is almost like what am I trying to say? Like noise that like if someone's
Yeah.
talking, it's just like la la
La
la la or
la la
blah
la
blah
la.
blah.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's the Snoopy thing of wah 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 wah. Yeah, I know, I get
exactly.
that.
Right.
It is, yeah,
The
it's that.
Peanuts teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But there's also, I mean, if you look at the line before it goes into the first lot of La La La's, it's the wounds of
Mm,
love as if crazy.
yeah.
And I mean, that is that sort of, and it has got that feel of it, even though it's quite high octave and it's joyful and it's,
Mm.
you know, and it's like bounces around. I don't think it is. I think it is literally, it's sort of like, it's like a nervous anxiousness of, am I ever going to break away from this cycle? This is
That's
insanity.
another that's another really good interpretation of kind of why he's doing the la la la's. I
Yeah.
like that too. It's almost like la la la, that connection back to when you're just kind of crazy when
You
you're in love
literally
or
lost
trying
your
to get
mind.
out of
You're
love
like,
or keep
you're
coming back to this
you're
love.
literally sat there going, this person has shown me all the signs that they adore me
Yeah.
and want me. And then like, am I delusional? Have I finally lost my mind? Have I finally flown over the cuckoo's nest? And I think that's
Yeah.
where this sort of, he's using the term crazy. And then you get this la, 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 la. And you're like, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's that type of thing that you could sort of see in like a period Victorian movie where you're walking around an asylum and you've just got this little kid sort of skipping around going la 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 with a
I
headless
know,
dog.
right? I can kind of see that.
It's that feeling, isn't it? It's like that, oh my God.
I could definitely kind of see that. Well, I've got a great clip. Let's watch a clip. This is of a live performance that they did.
Yeah.
That was a great clip because we could see that Lee Jung-shin was singing a
Yeah.
portion of some of those vocals. See, I'm still getting to know all their voices, so I kind of thought that only Younghwa did any of the vocals, but
No,
I guess
no. But they have a similar timbre in the voice as well,
Mm,
which kind of, they've not got this like, you've not got this sort of huskiness versus openness which you do in some other bands. They've both got this
yeah,
very
right.
sort of fluid, clear voice. So obviously, I mean, you could very easily sort of go, oh, who is it that's singing? So yeah, but no,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
brilliant. I love this song. I really, really do. As
I
I
do
said,
too.
it's not. It's just kind of. It's in. You know that this isn't a good song. He wasn't in a good place when he wrote this. I mean, one of the best lines in this, and it really is quite damning. And it's like, I'll cut you off and throw you away. And it's like, whoa!
Yeah, right.
Like, okay, man's had enough. The man has had enough.
Checked out Love Cut. Definitely give it a listen.
Yeah, it is. It's a brilliant song. Absolutely love it.
Well, this was fun, Kelly. Diving into 2 tracks. I think we weren't sure, neither of us know their music too in depth, but I
Yeah.
think we had some good discussion. It'd be fun to dive more into their music in the future. So listeners and viewers, you have to let us know what you think of these songs and just of CN Blue in general. We're happy to hear more about it. So let's wrap up, Kelly, with a evil would you rather.
Why
I'm
is
back
it
to being
evil,
evil today.
Anne? Why is it evil?
I haven't been evil lately.
Why?
And I needed
You haven't been evil lately? Who are you, Beelzebub?
We've had all these artist spotlights and I have to be on my best behavior for them. I can't be
Oh.
evil.
No, but you can be an
But
absolute
today I
noob
am.
to me.
So, yes, this is evil for you because, as I said at the top of the episode, listeners and viewers, Kelly thinks that our Mr. Kang Min Hyuk, the drummer of CN Blue, is slightly good looking. Just slightly.
I have a drummer problem. Stop it.
Hey,
Stop
I
it.
have to say, I placed myself strategically at that CN Blue concert
I know you
so
did.
that I could see Mr. Min Hyuk very well and took quite a bit of fan cams of him.
You did send me quite a bit of fan cam. Yes, you did. Yes, I must admit, I
He
did see
is
quite a bit. Yeah,
very easy on the eyes.
he's a
Very.
very, as I said to you, he's an exceptionally good drummer, and that is where my loyalty stands. The fact that the man is an exceptionally good drummer.
I bet he can bang those drums all night.
Sus content alert. Do I need to start shouting avocado? Or you're weird?
You might. Okay, let's take us back. I'll take us back to the would you rather. So we know, listeners and viewers, that Kang Min Hyuk, and we will insert a picture of him for everyone who isn't quite familiar, so we can all be admiring that he looks very lovely.
Admiring. Does this include part of his drum kit?
No.
No.
This picture will not include any drums. We will respectfully be looking at him.
Does this photograph include donuts?
Yes, it does.
I think I know which one it is. Yes, okay. Yeah, okay.
So imagine, Kelly, you're hanging out with him.
Okay.
Would you rather?
You can't even say this.
I can't say it without laughing.
How bad is this question if you can't say it without laughing, woman? How bad is it?
I feel like I'm 12. You let out the stinkiest fart. Like, it's so bad, Kelly, that plants are wilting in the background in front of Min Hyuk.
Nice. Thanks for this, Anne. Thank you.
Or
okay,
he does it.
Right, okay.
Or he's the one that lets out the stinkiest fart ever that makes you throw up in your mouth.
Nice.
Which would you rather encounter? And it's going to ruin. Okay, his fart is so nasty, it's going to ruin. You'll be like, oh my God, I can never look at you the same again.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, that has happened before with guys. They've done something and I've thought, I can never look at you again.
I know. That's what would happen with Min Hyuk. You'd never be able to see him the same again.
Oh, that's a shame.
Isn't it?
We'll
bring the picture back up so that everyone can see how much of a shame it would be.
And behave! Stop it, woman! Stop it!
Avocado!
You're weird.
You're weird.
You're weird. Right, okay. I'm in a band with 3 very smelly boys. So I will deal with him farting in front of me because that's not happened before, has it?
So
Yeah.
you'll never look at him the same again. Like you
I mean,
can't
I
find him
don't.
attractive after that.
I think it's lose-lose on either front on this, to be perfectly honest. I mean, how much Savoy cabbage have you had me eating beforehand? I mean, have I been on the Brussels? Is this what's happening? I mean,
Oh my God.
I mean, come on. I mean, I'm human. I will admit to certain things. I can't admit to being a complete lady all the time. But no, let's go with him, and then it just destroying again the vision of a yeah.
You know what?
We always have the donuts.
I'm going with him farting in front of me because I would be so horrified if I'm in front of this like one of the best looking men I've ever seen in my life, and I let out the nastiest fart ever. I would be horrified. I would want to die.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah, honestly, any man that cannot cope with bodily functions is not the man for you anyway.
Well, Kang Min Hyuk, I don't know how you feel about girls that fart, but he has a cat. Maybe he's used to cats making stinky
Well, yeah, I mean,
smells.
cats can be a bit stinky, can't they, to be honest?
I think I'm going with him farting in front of me, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm with that. No, I'm with that. Definitely. I can't believe you've asked this as a question. One, I can't believe you've outed me. I cannot believe you've done that. The
most evil part is me outing you.
I mean, you've outed me, for crying out loud, woman. This is terrible. Anyway, I'm allowed.
You are allowed.
I'm allowed.
I mean, he's beautiful. You're allowed.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Of course. Yeah, I know.
All right, listeners and viewers. Tell us what you would do in that situation. I think Kelly and we're taking our chances with letting Kang Min Hyuk just rip one nasty fart from us.
It's literally mustard gas. I've just got the idea of mustard gas in my head now.
I think at this point, I don't know that there'd be anything that man could do that would make me not think he's gorgeous. Even
I don't know. There are some gorgeous men out there in the world, and they pull some shitty stunts, and you think, do you know what? Whoa.
Well, listeners, this was a fun episode, Into the Blue, just scratching the surface of CN Blue's music. But already, Kelly, I think we can have some good discussions with more songs from CN Blue, for sure. Listeners and viewers, tell us what you think of this episode. How did you like us diving into the music of CN Blue? Are there other songs that you would love us to talk through and review? Are there other bands and artists that you'd be interested in these types of deep dives? We're interested in what you think. Please rate our podcast. Leave us comments about this episode. We love to hear your feedback. Follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. We are at KROK_cast all across the board.
Click here to subscribe.
And we're also on Patreon. Join Patreon. Great benefits like exclusive content. We have fun bloopers from most episodes that we share with our Patreon followers. And there's some out of this one. And we are having our second virtual hangout coming up before the end of the year. If you're a paid Patreon member, you are eligible to join our virtual hangout. So check that out. Email us at krock.cast@gmail.com. And don't forget the website, www.krockcast.com. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
This is Anson. You are watching and listening to K-Rock Cast. Check out their podcast and K-Rock Recommends for my music and other great independent artists.